I'm also providing nearly $4 million to support these small businesses that I talked about today that got burned up, burned down. And we're going to be providing over $42 million to support public safety statewide, including direct support for law enforcement and funding for additional prosecutors to punish criminals and resources to provide services to victims of crime. And that was Bill Barr wanted that money put in. You have some bad apples, we all know that, and those will be taken care of through the system, and nobody's going to be easy on them either. And you have people that choke. They're under tremendous, I said it yesterday, I said it last night, they're under tremendous pressure, and they may be there for 15 years and have a spotless record, and all of a sudden they're faced with a decision. They have a quarter of a second to make a decision. And if they make a wrong decision, one way or the other, they're either dead or they're in big trouble. And people have to understand that. They choke sometimes. And it's a very tough situation, right? It's a very tough. Then people call them bad and horrible, and they made a bad decision. But if you think of it, when they have, and I know you practice this all the time, where you give people literally a quarter of a second to make a decision. And a lot of them can't make that right decision. It's a very tough thing to do. The vast and overwhelming majority of police officers are honorable, courageous, and devoted public servants. They're incredible. Yet many politicians ignore their sacrifice and ignore the African-American and Hispanic-American victims. We have people, there was love on the streets, I can tell you, of Wisconsin when we were coming in. There was love on the streets, and so many African-Americans, Hispanic-Americans I can see waving. Pastor, it was so beautiful to see. They want to have safety. They want to have safety. You look at, I'm not a huge believer in polls, obviously, but you look at polls where it's 87% want to have great police. They want to have strong police. They want to have safety. They're the ones that are most affected by tragedies like you'll see going around. When these allegations of police wrongdoing, and when you see that they have made allegations, they must be fully and fairly investigated, and that's what we're doing. Bill Barr's done a fantastic job in that respect, and we fully understand that, because you do have problems the other way, but they're very few. You know, the sad thing is you can do 10,000 great jobs as a policeman or a policewoman. You can do an incredible job for years, and then you have one bad apple, or something happens that's bad. And that's the nightly news for 3 weeks. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about the thousands and thousands of good jobs, the lives that you save, they never talk about. So I'm committed to helping Kenosha rebuild. We all are. We will provide $1 million to the Kenosha law enforcement so that you have some extra money to go out and do what you have to do. You took it was a rough week, to put it mildly, and you've done it incredibly well. I'm also providing nearly $4 million to support these small businesses that I talked about today that got burned up, burned down. And we're going to be providing over $42 million to support public safety statewide, including direct support for law enforcement and funding for additional prosecutors to punish criminals and resources to provide services to victims of crime. And that was Bill Barr wanted that money put in. So that's $42 million. That'll help with prosecutors and all of the other things that are so important to you. You need that, because when you grab them and then nothing happens and they're back on the street, that doesn't work out too well. My administration is restoring public safety. We're hiring more police, surging tough-on-crime federal prosecutors, increasing penalties for assaulting law enforcement, and for dismantling Antifa. They don't want to mention the word Antifa. Nobody mentions it. There's a bad group of people. Very, very bad, very dangerous group of people. And we are doing a big number on Antifa. They're bad.